Hello, everybody. Welcome to Geeks and Barbells, the podcast, the show, the wonderful place where we talk about things. Today, I wanted to actually do a little bit of a book review, but this is kind of more of a talk about health and nutrition books in general. I think a lot of people, when they try to get into better shape, better health, when they want to change around their lives, and I mean, when you're coming at it from a really creative standpoint, when you want to make big changes in your life, become an entrepreneur, start your own business, go into art, whatever it is, just have a more fun artistic life where you're a more creative person, more optimistic, more positive. Nutrition is super important, and for many people it's super confusing because online it's a shit show. It's just opinion wars going back and forth. It's more emotional and sort of religious than it is about facts and actually looking at things realistically for yourself, for the world, the environment. And so there's very few books that do this well, where they kind of give a wide picture about all the things that go into health and how you can take care of yourself but be very individualized in your structure of it. So I want to talk about Chris Kresser's The Paleo Cure. And Chris is a really awesome guy. Very quiet, very gentle spoken. He has a really cool podcast, which you can check out as well. Revolution Health Radio, I believe it's called. But you can just look up Chris Kresser and you'll find it. He has another book which has come out a little while back, which is just as good. But the Paleo Cure, I mean, Chris is not some kind of eat like our ancestors, Paleolithic kind of dude. He does believe in looking back throughout history to see how we have eaten, but he's very, very broad-minded. And that's why I really like this book, because first of all, for people who don't know nothing about nutrition or very little, this book goes through the very, very basics in an easy to follow way. He talks about all the different kinds of fatty acids, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, saturated. He talks about meat and different forms of protein. He talks about plant foods. He talks about everything. He talks about the importance of sunlight, fresh air, movement, training, your family life, and like all the things that are important to be in good health, because it's not just about the food you eat. But when it comes to the food, he does go through this in a very simple way that everybody can understand, and he's very broad-minded about it. He's not, you should eat low carb, you should eat low fat, you should eat like this. He gives us a template, a general way to think of things, and then you have to fiddle with things by yourself. And he does give some resources and tips and tricks to try to figure out how things can function better for yourself. And this is extremely important. So many people in this day and age, they want to have this magical quick fix. Take this pill, eat this way, and it's just going to work. But it doesn't work that way. Okay? So if you're the kind of person who does well on a lot of carbs, great. If you're the kind of person who does well on high fat, low carbs, great. If you want to go keto, if you want to even be vegetarian or vegan, you can actually pull a lot from this book, because he will explain the pros and cons to being vegetarian or vegan, what you should look out for. And just by reading his book, even though he doesn't fully delve into it, you'll understand like where you should try to cover your bases if you want to be vegetarian or vegan, how to supplement and basically make sure you don't screw yourself over. But there are definitely, he's very honest. He follows the science, he follows the studies, and he doesn't try to limit himself to just one way of doing things. I really think this is possibly one of the best, if not much, much better books that anyone who's new to this kind of stuff can get into. And afterwards, having access to his podcast and whatnot will give you like a swath of resources. Chris is one of those just generally nice people. Just really nice. I've never, even when he's frustrated, he's nice. So you can kind of get that from his book. Sticks to the facts, doesn't broaden out. Eat a lot of good quality fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, tubers, meat. The quantities and vary depending on the person. some people need more protein, some people need less. Some people need more carbs, some people need less. All that Chris cares about is that you understand the pros of all of those foods and the cons of some foods, how they can affect people differently, and that you be as honest as possible with yourself so that you don't allow yourself to get stuck into a mode where maybe you've heard a high fat diet is really good for you, but it's not working for you. You're having a lot of problems. Well, maybe it's because you're not doing well. He'll show you how. And if that still doesn't work for you, well, maybe you need more carbs. Maybe you don't do well on high fat. Everyone's different. If you want to eat a low fat high carb diet, that might be great also. We are all different people. There's almost 7 billion of us on this planet. Makes no sense that there's one way to eat for everybody. So that's why he really pushes that idea of a template of the foods we know have mostly benefits to them, the foods we know have mostly cons to them, how they can both work, and how you need to balance yourself out. And you'll pull a lot from this. I think that for a lot of people, because food is so tied in with our mood, a lot of us are emotional eaters. We use food to deal with moments that are very unpleasant for us. Some people get into alcohol and drugs, other people use food. I mean, a lot of people, unfortunately, who have weight issues, it is because they have an unhealthy relationship with food. They use food purely to deal with emotional stuff. And then it just becomes a pattern. And then when they do eat even regularly, they overeat. Everything is about loving food. And there's nothing wrong with that. You do want to enjoy your food. Food should have pleasurable moments within it. You should want to eat your food and enjoy it. But if you are just constantly eating and you don't even want to eat, but you keep eating because you're sad about this, you're sad about that, that is a negative thing. Now, some of that has to obviously be dealt with a therapist, your family, your friends, changing your lifestyle, all sorts of stuff goes into that as well. But as someone, who is a human as well, I know for a fact, I've never had weight issues, but I know for a fact that when I'm not in the best of spirits, I will eat junk. And the more junk I eat, the more junk I want, and the less pleasurable normal food becomes. Even foods that I really enjoy become less tasty. I want to have more sugar, more sweets on them. It's just the way the body, the biology of our brain is set up. We're wired in a way that we crave sweets and sugars. And when you combine, a lot of junk food is something has a bunch of salt, sugar, and also some fat, it's like hitting the 3 reward centers, the 3 things that we really crave out of nature. And so we're going to overeat like crazy. And when a huge amount of that is primarily carbohydrate, it can cause some issues for a lot of people, especially with how sedentary our lifestyle is. That's the real big issue, is carbs can be extremely healthy for many people. Unfortunately, we also happen to live a lifestyle that is completely anathema to using carbohydrates efficiently. We don't move much. We're extremely sedentary. Many of us spend huge amounts of time staring at the computer screen, and we all tend to sleep badly and then drink lots of coffee. All these things lead to horrible blood sugar stabilization. They lead to horrible insulin regulation. And so the things that will make us utilize carbohydrates well and in a good, positive way, we do the opposite and then make our systems run extremely badly and then pound them full of nutrient depleted carbs with some shitty quality fats. And I don't want to say sodium is bad because people have maligned sodium, and sodium is really healthy and really positive for you. But when you're just getting it like refined salt through junk food while you're also living a completely inactive life, you're gonna mess yourself up really badly. And so it is super important for people to understand that you need to find good mentors. You need to find good positive role models that you can get your information from. I think Kresser, this book, The Paleo Cure. Check out his podcast. Check out his website. He is someone who's very balanced, very fair across the board. And regardless of the lifestyle that you choose to live, and regardless of the way you choose to live, if you want to be vegan, if you want to be keto, Chris is pretty fair across the board. He will tell you the negatives that will come along with those things, and that certain ones are usually better for some people, but he will still give you such good information that you can always find what you need and do whatever diet, whatever way of eating you've chosen. This will help you. So check it out, kresser.com. Check out his podcast. I think it's the Revolution Health Radio. I'm blanking on it right now. Check out his book, The Paleo Cure. He does have another book which is called, I can't remember right now. But check out his other book as well. I've heard it's super, super good. I haven't had the chance to buy it yet. And that is it for today. I'm going to keep this short, sweet, lovely, perfect, beautiful. Yeah. Chris Kresser. Love it, like it. Like this channel. Like the podcast, subscribe, leave comments, check it out. We are on iTunes, we are on Spotify, we are on Google Play, we are on YouTube, we are everywhere. Everywhere. And check out, of course, the Geeks and Barbells website, geeksnbarbells.com, where I write, share a bunch of geek stuff. And yeah, just get artsy-fartsy in my free time. Love you all. Have fun.